one of the most valuable boxers in this sport. I've knocked out every single person that I've fought.
International superstar Jake Paul takes on one of the most feared combat sports fighters of all time, Anderson Silva. In the most exciting fight spectacle of the year, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, Saturday, October 29th, live on pay-per-view.
First week of the basketball season is officially in the books. Everyone's seen the teams play, and now it's time to get even more into the action.
All new customers sign up and use promo code SMOKE. Bet $5 on any pregame moneyline wager, and if your pick is correct, you'll receive an additional $200 in free bets.
That's right. All it takes is $5 on any pregame moneyline wager, and DraftKings will throw in $200 in free bets if your bet cashes.
You can cash out even more by building your very own same-game parlay. The possibilities are endless, and the more legs you add, the more money you can win.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use the promo code SMOKE and receive $200 in free bets if their pregame moneyline bet hits after placing a $5 wager. That's promo code SMOKE, only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
I heard about your thigh meat problem and like all that stuff.
Yeah, but it got rave reviews on the internet, so I have to probably just stay away from it because these ladies said pull them up higher. I said I can't. I got a girl. What's burning? Jack, we got a special guest.
Of course.
She'll be around more often.
Special guest?
I mean, not even a guest.
Guest
is the wrong word.
Yeah, guest is definitely the wrong word.
A new member.
Well, look,
of the family.
It's your guys' house.
Right.
I just want like the spare bedroom.
That's fine.
That's all.
That's
yeah,
cool.
we can make that happen. Man,
right.
Welcome, Rachel, to What's Burning. We appreciate you guys.
What's burning?
Thank you guys for scheduling around my busy day today. As you can
Can we
see,
discuss-
my natty
brother.
attire.
Can we discuss your clothes?
Yeah,
Who
shit
made
is
that?
sweet.
Who made that? Send him a shout out.
Jesus himself,
Had to.
the way it looks.
I'm trying to tell you.
I ain't mad at it.
All I know.
Can I get the Lord himself to send me one?
Let me see.
All I know is I was told, oh no, what's burning? Like you should dress down. Everyone's,
Normally
like,
I'm
super
shorts
tight.
and t-shirt. So yeah, we got you off guard today, Rachel.
You clean.
I heard about your thigh meat problem and like all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah, but it got rave reviews on the internet, so I have to probably just stay away from it because these ladies said pull them up higher. I said I can't. I got a girl. Anyway, let's get to the show. Man,
Coming in hot.
yeah, for real. Hottest team in the NBA right now, Portland Trailblazers. Happy for Chance and Dame first and foremost. 4-0. Dame is back playing at an all-NBA level.
Whew.
Rachel, what has impressed you most by this early season start by the Trailblazers?
Well, look, Lillard, right? Western Conference Player of the Week. But here's all you need to know about Damian Lillard,
Yeah.
right? This is the guy who, if he's challenged, we know
He's
what
gonna
he
step
is
up.
coming back with, right? So he missed part of last season. A lot of people were like, oh, I don't know how he's going to be. You know, Damian Lillard, he's not the best athlete in the NBA, all that stuff. If he gets hurt, what's it going to...
I want to hear none
Right?
of that shit.
All of that stuff. And it's funny, he's been talking a little bit recently, and he talked about this first a year and a half ago, that in the summer of 2021, he ran into LeBron James at a WNBA game. And LeBron was like, oh, come by the house sometime. So he's like, all right. And he made arrangements, came by the house, and guess who was there waiting for him? LeBron, Anthony Davis, and some very expensive wine. And they basically spent the night trying to recruit him to the Lakers.
Can you imagine that?
I know. And he said that at the beginning, he was like, oh, let me think about this. Right at that point, he wasn't that happy with the franchise, remember? And that he was like, you know what? Through that conversation, even reinforced to me more, I want to do this my way, on my team, in my city. And from that point, and really from the point that they traded CJ, right? Those things all happened within the same 6-month period. He took an active role into building the squad that you are seeing out there today, right? So Jeremy Grant, he played with him on the Olympic team. He recruited
Big
him,
pickup.
right? He knew that the defense, bottom third of the NBA the last couple of seasons, needed a little pump. He recruited Gary Payton Jr. He has worked hard with Anthony Simons. So he has put so much more of himself into this team this year than I think we have ever seen him put before.
that.
And
Yeah.
this man is not done.
Jack, obviously they're not going to go undefeated. Is this fool's gold or this sustainable for this team?
I mean, it's good to see because, we're so many people over there that we rock with, Chance, Dame, and the whole team, and everybody's healthy right now. Nurkic is healthy, the whole team. You have the whole team right now. So they showing us what they can be. But we know it's a long season.
Yes.
You know, and it's good to see right now, but I want to see this Portland team at the end of the season because Dame deserves to be, you know, at the top of the West.
I got a chance to see Anthony Simons play in person, and I was so impressed. This young boy could put the ball in the basket, and one thing I like is he doesn't care how many shots he misses. He's going to keep going, and I think, you know, that's appreciated from Dame's standpoint because although Dame's playing great, he's getting older. He's not going to carry the load the entire time. So I like Anthony again.
22 points in 6 minutes in the third quarter.
What's his
Come
name?
on.
Jeremy Grant was a great pickup. Obviously, GP2 hasn't got a chance to get out there yet. But again, I like this team. I think they're more of a middle of the pack, lower playoff type team. But again, great start. And hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to see, like you said, I'd love to see Dame at the top of the West. But the West is tough, and it's still early. Next up, one of the most impressive duos in the game, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Picking up where they left off last year. Currently, Tatum is at 32.5 a game, 8 rebounds, shooting 55% from the field. Brown is at 24, 5.5, 1.5 blocks, and 1.5 steals. Off to a 3-1 start thus far. Slipped up last night. Tatum, Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Brogdon fitting in well. Early impressions on this Celtics team, Jack?
I love the way they responded. You know, with everything going on out there, I love the way how they responded out the gate. You know, they came out looking like this championship team, looking like one of the best teams in the East. Tatum coming in, we said Tatum was going to have to play a big role and up his game with everything that's going on there and having a new coach on the sideline, and he doing that.
Yep.
So they're responding the way they were supposed to respond, but you know, like you said, it's a long season, but it's a good way to see them start.
Don't you think that the Celtics and the Suns have had the biggest fuck you energy in the league?
By
You
far.
thought this offseason shit was going to derail us? You thought, we're going to fall apart, right? And both teams have been like, this is the talent we have on the floor. And I love the Malcolm Brogdon pickup.
But you know, Rach, too, being along the game long enough, bad teams, you know, that'll mess up. Like the Warriors, that situation with Draymond, bad teams would, you know, go in different directions. But these good, solid teams with solid foundations, it brings them together, and that's sometimes what the outside doesn't realize.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, and we're seeing it. And Boston was a question mark, right? I mean, you lose your coach that close to the start of the season.
Right.
It's a scramble.
And not just any coach. Like, he had these dudes playing great basketball in the finals.
Yep. Amen. And so it's a testament, as you say, to the good teams, to the guys like Tatum, to the guys like Jaylen, who are able to say, no, circle up. We got you.
All right.
We're going to be all right.
The one thing I'll say about this team is their frontline depth worries me, and I definitely know that last year Robert Williams wasn't healthy playing, and you saw he had to sit out every other game. His knee was flaring up. They need him to be significant in this league.
I'm glad he got the surgery, though.
Yeah, he had
because
to.
you just do it.
Yeah.
Don't like inch along like last season. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it at the beginning
but
of the
get
year.
healthy. You know, I like how they're, you know, hey, you're not going to see him till the second half of the season, so there's no guess.
Nope.
Like, even if he feels better, make sure he rests because he's going to be an integral part. You know, everything he brings to that team, they don't have. Although they have other bigs, no one does what Robert Williams does. So I'm a real big fan of him, and he needs to be healthy for, you know, Boston to be a serious contender this year, that's for sure. Western Conference, Zion and the Pelicans off to a hot start. Zion's at 22 a game, Ingram at 22 a game, CJ at 23 a game. I love this team. You know,
fun.
our brother Willie Green is doing a good job over there at head coaching. Rachel, first thought on this team's early start and what you've seen from Zion thus far.
I'm so glad you brought up his name because everyone talks,
Willie
of
G?
course. Yeah,
That's
like,
my guy.
Willie
right?
G.
Because Zion is just a magnet, right? And everyone's like, oh, CJ came in. And by the way, I am in the CJ McCollum camp forever. I think what he does to a locker room when they brought him in, and so many people had questions of why'd you spend this much in the trade? David Griffin knew exactly what he was getting, and CJ has lived up to every part of it.
Great player, but even better person.
Even better person, and just again, the grown he's a grown up in the room, right? And you have a lot of young players on that team. BI obviously incredibly talented, but it's up to Willie to manage all of that.
Right.
And I think a lot of their early success comes from him knowing the right notes to hit at the right time. You can have a lot of talent and not know how to integrate them all. And those guys, you can tell they're a team.
Yeah.
They're really playing together for each other. They're clearly going to be a top 5 offense this season, right?
I
And
agree.
the question's the defense. And in that sense, it's just, you know, what I always say, it's how hard are you going to play?
Yeah, it's
right?
the defense is just
what it
want and
comes down
effort.
to.
Jack, thoughts on this squad? Do you see them being a top 7 team in the West? You think they're in the top 8 in the West? Let me put it that way.
I see this team surprising a lot of people. I would say top 8 team, like in that bottom half. I think B.I. is finna go to another level with his game.
I love B.I.'s
You know
game.
what I'm saying? This kid, he has the attitude, he has the talent, he has the passion, and he's young.
And he'll swing on you.
And he's starting to come into his own. You know, I think they starting to pass him the torch on this team, let him know he's the guy.
He is the guy.
But I like you said, I like everything about it. It's gonna always, my question is gonna always be Zion. How many games he gonna play? Like, I've took worse falls than that. And I don't have.
That's a lot of weight coming down.
I don't have
on
the
that
cushion
butt.
he has, though. I don't have the
I get
cushion
it.
he has, and I got up and played. You know what I'm saying? So we need to see him on the court for them to be successful.
Jack,
bro.
I think if he had to play tonight, he would. I think this
Early.
is just more precaution because of his past. But I'm looking for growth from him as a player. Obviously he's missed a lot of time, but he's still learning how to play this NBA game, and he's putting up video game numbers as far as shooting percentage and at 22 a game. But I'm excited just to see his growth this year, because I think there's so much more he can add to his game. But you hit it on the head. The key is his availability for this team. Next, heading out to South Beach, I don't feel like there's any reason to be scared, but Heat are off to a 1-3 start.
Just what I expected.
Jack, thoughts?
They
on
didn't
this
get
team?
better.
No,
They did not
enough.
get better this summer. They didn't do anything to get better. The most entertaining thing they did this summer was watching Jimmy walk around with extensions. I called him too. I said, Jim, how long? I called him. I say, Jake Paul said he'll bet $1 million if you that you don't wear it all year. I say, bro, please wear it all year so I get this $1 million. I'm gonna take this man. He said, I can't do it. I can't.
They were long. They were long. They were down to his waist.
But they didn't get better, man. I mean, as much as I want to see Jimmy, he a dog like us. He come from our
cloth pedigree.
Our cloth, yeah, he come from our cloth, and I just want to see Jimmy win, man. But they didn't get better. I don't see it happening.
Rach.
Look, I'm not going to bet against that team until they show me that they can't get it done when it counts, because they have been there in that last chunk of the playoffs over and over and over again recently. So I give them the benefit of the doubt until they show me they can't do it, and then I say, okay, what do we need to fix them? I am amused that Jimmy Butler is going to have that photo taken on media day thrown up on every broadcast for the rest of the season, and that makes me smile.
maybe period. That might be his look. I'm with you, Rach. I'm not concerned. It's early. All SPO teams are going to play hard and end up getting together. Jimmy's a great leader. What is Kyle Lowry going to give this team this season? He's currently at about 10.5 points a game, but only shooting 28% from the field. You see that Tyler Herro's now the starting point guard. I don't know if labels matter. I don't know Kyle Lowry like that to know if it's going to bother him that Herro is the point guard. But they need him, because to me they don't have very much depth. So what is Lowry at age 36 going to be able to give this team? Obviously, older players get off to slower starts. You see CP getting off to a slower start, but what does Lowry still have left in the tank to be able to add to this team? Because whatever it is, they're going to definitely need it.
Well, I mean, Tyler Herro, I'm pretty sure he's bothered by losing his spot to Tyler Herro. Tyler's not a point guard.
You're not going to pay Tyler that much money and not play him a lot.
Yeah, true, but he's definitely not a point guard. They're not going to win with him bringing the ball up and running plays. He can score at a high clip.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's why they paid him to score the bucket, not to run plays. So, but I know as a guy who played a while, I know that bothers Kyle Lowry, because he's a dog too and he wants to play.
Oh, I mean that's his main characteristic, right? But to me, it's not how you start; it's how you finish, right? So whether you're starting games, I don't care. Are you out there closing games, right? And then it's true.
This last week and a
true
half.
for the whole season too. How you're starting the season versus how you end the season. Kyle Lowry dealt with a lot of personal stuff last year, and it took him away from the court, and it took him away from his normal conditioning, and I'm not shocked if he's getting a slower start to ramp up to this season.
Yeah.
Let's check in on him and how he's finishing in the second half of the season. Then I'll be worried.
Agree. It's a marathon. We know that. Jack's favorite team, the Los Angeles Lakers, is off to a 0-3 start.
You don't have a pennant in your bedroom?
Yeah,
No?
he's lying, Rachel. If he ever told a lie, he just told one.
What I mean, obviously, it's early. It's 3 games, but it's the Lakers, and when I do ESPN and Rach, you can recall whether they're winning or losing. We're talking about them every single day. So it's just like, and it's funny too, because I've been talking to Darvin Ham a lot lately, and just kind of letting him know what he's in for, and he's picking my brain and asking me stuff too, and it's just like, this is probably the hottest seat in basketball. It will always be the hottest seat in basketball. This team is off to a slow start. Jack, what's your thought on Russ and not so much his play, just the way he's the stuff we've seen him doing kind of away from the team a little bit. I don't want to make anything out of context or make anything bigger, but we've seen a couple times, him not getting huddles, him not do this. We saw AD and LeBron's reaction when Russ was going for a 2-for-1 when they had the lead against Portland. The crowd, his home crowd, he's from here. His home crowd is booing the dog shit out of him. As a player who's always been mental tough, and that's what Russ has been, what is your thoughts on just that, what I just spoke on?
Well, one, I just want Russ. I'm looking into my single account. Russ, you a dog, bro. You one of the best players to ever play this game. Get your confidence back, get tougher skin, and try to block everything out. And what you're going through, every player has went through. Everybody has slumps. So everybody had up and down. The games has been up and down. So you're not going through anything that nobody else has went through. Yeah, people around the Lakers are making it bigger than what it is because they're not winning, and everybody expects the Lakers to be this team. But Russ, from a brother to brother, man, keep doing you. Find your game back and find your love for the game back, bro, because we know you can do what you need to do.
Rach, thoughts on Russ, but also the lack of shooting that LeBron is dressed in the media?
Right. So, look, I think the criticism of Russ all day, every day, he's the problem, that has been way overblown. Mm-hmm. Pretending that Russell Westbrook is the only issue with this Lakers squad is just willful. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I do think that he maybe shouldn't be out on the floor closing games, as we saw the other night. And I do think that he has to adjust a little bit. You say, go back and get your game back. I don't know if at this age that is available to him. What made Russell Westbrook, and we all saw it at his peak, his athleticism was off the charts.
Motor, his
insane, from end to end, north to south on the floor, getting up for those dunks, all the stuff that he did that you knew when you were watching him at his absolute best. That is not the kind of game that ages in the NBA the way, say, Steph Curry can hit jump shots until he's 60, right? So I think there does need to be a little bit of acceptance of, hey, instead of just going and trying to do the same stuff that you have done your whole career, how can I be good and helpful at this age and in this way? That being said, I don't know if he'd be trying to go 2-for-1 at the end of the game if there were more shooters on that team. And that goes back to the stuff that LeBron has obviously been talking about. And look, he's right. Nothing he said, you might question how he said it, but nothing that he said was wrong. And it is mystifying to me sometimes that this team started when he got here, building a team around him that did not have shooting, saying, we think there's a different way to play with LeBron. I mean, they came out and said it, and you just sat there and go, Miami, look what they did. Cleveland the second time, look what they did. Even the first time they knew how to play with shooting around him. Trying to reinvent the wheel when he got to LA at the end of his career made no sense to me. Right. Then in that 2020 season when they won the title, there was a boatload of shooting around him, and it was like, see, they get it. Awesome, great. And then since then they have dismantled the shooting around him. And I don't know if there is a fix for that this season. I do think that there will be more players available toward the trade deadline, more good players, all-star players, than we've seen in a few years, because the parity is crazy around this league right now. A lot of teams that think that they're going to be in the top 4 in their conference are not. They are not going to be contenders. And with such a good draft class coming up, I think you are going to see teams cut bait mid-season, and all of a sudden some of these really great players will be available at a little bit of a discount from what we might have seen previous years. So the Lakers could jump in then, not now, then, and do something. Or, and I hate to say this, when LeBron is the age he is about wasting one of his seasons, it's criminal. But the fact of the matter is, if they just wait until the off season, they got a max salary slot. They have what at that point they will be allowed to use 3 first-round picks. They can only use 2 right now because they got to wait to see how the season flips out with the Pelicans. The idea that they could basically buy their way into a championship contender, it's a time-honored Laker tradition. Free agents want to come to Los Angeles. The Lakers are one of the sterling brands. You could have a whole new team in June. And there is something to be said for, if there's a great deal out there at the deadline, take it. But if there isn't,
it's going to be a long
year
if they take that route, which makes the most sense, though.
It's painful.
You don't want to waste. I mean, Bron's in year 20. You don't want to waste any of his time.
No.
That he's continued to bless us with his greatness. But that makes the most sense because, like you said, you know, you're hearing rumors that maybe a Terry Rozier or, you know, things that can come to the team. But that's what I'm saying. People really think that Russ is the main, and there's not a very good roster. They don't play. There's so many other issues outside of Russ, but Russ is the easy scapegoat. One thing I wanted to touch on, Rach, which I think you made a great point about, is Russ's game aging, that he hasn't, you know, kind of come to his head about, you know, and a perfect example to me is someone like CP, who's been able to modify his game to his age and been able to slow down and change the speeds. And what made Russ so great now is kind of harming him because that's the only way he knows how to go. There's never really been a change of speed, but he hasn't had to change speed because his speed couldn't fuck with his speed. But now that it's slowing down and it's, you know, and I think people are in his head as far as shooting. I mean, Russ has been, you know, a pretty consistent when he was going a mid-range shooter. You know what I mean? And now, like, it's hard when people just say, oh, shit, I'm not guarding that. That shit is hard to make a shot. When people, you know, you're at the three-point line and people just turn their head and walk to the rebound. That shit gets in your head. So I would love to see Russ find it. I don't know what find it looks like at this age, but I just know there's just a lot of noise in LA around this team, and I don't know if they can straighten it out. So on the radar, presented to you by DraftKings, we have our odds on favorite to win MVP this year. I'm gonna go through maybe the top 8. Luka plus 450. Giannis is number 2 at plus 650. Ja made a nice jump. He's at plus 750. Embiid plus 800. Jason Tatum plus 800. KD plus 1200. Steph Curry is on there plus 2,000. Dame's at plus 2,500. Zion snuck on there. Thoughts on MVP? Although, you know, we're 3 or 4 games in, it doesn't really mean anything right now. But who on that list has really impressed you so far, Jack?
I'll just go with 2 guys, Ja Morant and Jason Tatum. The way they starting off, I think those guys have a great chance of actually winning this award, not just being up here. You know, the early season picks, they really have a shot at winning MVP.
Rach?
Well, look, right now with the odds, Luka's up top and then Giannis. I'd flip those personally just because I don't know how many games the Mavericks are going to win.
Right.
And as someone who's voted on a lot of these awards, you do take that into account.
Have to.
The Bucks, we know they're going to be right, if not the top, around the top of the Eastern Conference. And he's just...
Giannis is 30, not to cut you off, 32.5 a game, 12.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists.
I mean, it's
with the number 1
sick.
defense in the league.
Right. And that he is a huge part of, right? So I still got to give it to him as the favorite going in here and what that would mean in terms of the history of the game, having him win it for a 3rd time. But I think that Luka could be right up there because once Brunson left, Luka's going to like pick up more numbers. I just don't know how many wins
how that
Dallas is going to get.
Ja's on a mission. I think Ja's on a mission to lead the league in scoring. Their team's exciting. This is the new NBA. These dudes celebrate, they party, they dance after games, they do selfies. Like, I love this new energy. They got stars at their game in Memphis. They're dancing on the court. Like, I love what they've embraced him. He's their leader. They've thrown the grindhouse mantra out. They have their own. I don't know what they're called now, but whatever it's called, it needs to be dope. But I love what he's doing, what this organization and team is doing, and I would love to see him go up there and grab that this year. But again, it's early and Steph Curry's still around. Man, in closing thoughts, Adidas decides to terminate the Kanye West contract along with several other brands that have kind of left his side. Rachel, what's your thoughts on this?
They had to. I'm wearing these today because I'm in support of their decision. You can't have someone saying that, and by the way, it's not just these most recent comments. We were talking about this before the show.
We've been talking shit for a minute.
The stuff he has been saying over the past few years, as great as an artist as he is, as much as he has given us sort of, you know, over this time, I'm sorry. That stuff incites violence. We have seen a 1-to-1 of violence coming from the things he said. And when you are saying and doing things that physically are hurting innocent people, sorry. The
KKK hijacked this movement. I think that was kind of the final step with the people that were on the freeway this past week and, you know, throwing up the white power signs and Kanye's right. Jack, thoughts on the situation?
It just is. At first, it's just hard. It's hard to. It hurts our heart, especially as a black man, to see somebody like Kanye, who we look up to, say so many hurtful things, not to only to other races, but to his own race. You know what I mean? And for me, it just hurts the things he said about George Floyd. You know what I mean? Because Now his daughter coming home from school asking why people bringing that up again, right? And I went through a tough time doing that whole, you know what I'm saying, doing the whole George Floyd stuff to have to relive it again. You know what I mean? So I just think that it just hurts from somebody we listen to and somebody we look up to say these things, and you hate to see the things happen to him, but you say stupid shit, you get stupid prizes.
I'm hurt too from a standpoint of what he's been able to mean for the culture when he was on the right path, and what he's been able to build for himself. If you think of what he's been able to build for himself as far as music and fashion and culture, like, he was up there. He was icon status. And, you know, I don't mind the ignorant stuff he says, because to me that's freedom of speech, and you're not always going to agree with people say. I just obviously have a problem with the hate. You know, and as we were talking off air, he was saying a lot of hateful stuff for a while. But, you know, he spoke on the Jewish community.
You can't say that about slavery.
No.
You can't say that stuff.
You can't say that
You
stuff.
cannot.
I'm sorry.
You can't. You can just, there's a lot of stuff you can't say when it comes to hate. And, like, again, he's been, you know, kind of stabbing at all races when it comes to that. But, you know, he spoke on the Jewish community and almost taunted them. Like, you can't, I could do this, you can't.
Yep.
And, you know, unfortunately, just, I mean, that's just something you don't want to test. But, again, man, I overall, man, I just pray for him, you know, because I know he just needs some help, some hugs, some, you know, he spoke on his mental health issues, and you know, that probably needs to be addressed, but you never want to use that as an excuse. But at the same time, man, you hate to see it, because he's a father too. You know what I mean? And you know, his kids, and he's gone, you know, he's had a situation with this girl, and whenever there's kids involved, that's just hard, because his kids are old enough now to hear. And you don't ever want to hear nothing bad about your mom or dad.
They all got phones, though. They all got phones. They see all that, man. You never want to
hear stuff about your mom and dad when it comes to this negative stuff. So, you know, obviously praying for everybody involved. And, you know, I mean, I just hope he, you know, gets some help that he needs, and can get himself together. Another sad situation. Brittney Griner, latest, her appeal was denied today. Yeah, right. Was denied today, upheld. They're giving her time served, so they say at this point she still owes another 8 years. This is just sick to me, and all over. They're obviously trying to make an example, but a little cartridge. Jack, anything you want to say to her, in case we can get that out to her on?
BG, you know, we love you. Me and you always been cool. We bumped into each other a few times. But, you know, we riding for you. We know you've been doing wrong, and anything we can do, we trying to do it. But you have our support, and hopefully we'll see you home soon.
Rachel, anything support for Beat?
Well, I mean, it's every time I see what she's up against, I mean, my heart drops. It just seems, it's barbaric. I mean, there's no other word for what she's going through. I do have a question for you guys, and I don't know the answer, so I'm just legitimately asking. She is one of the faces of the WNBA, right? If this was one of the faces of the NBA who had been in this position, what do you think would be different in terms of what our government might do to help her out, or the common public opinion?
Unfortunately, I think if it was a male star, he would be out.
You think so?
We wouldn't be talking about this right now.
I think he would have been out.
No, we wouldn't be talking about this.
And I think obviously that's all guess, but it's a pretty solid guess. Like if one of our stars, I'm not even going to throw no one's name, but if one of our bigger stars, faces of the NBA, happen to get caught with some treat overseas and this kind of shit happen, I just have a feeling that he wouldn't still be sitting there.
It just keeps, every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, would this happen with the guy? And I don't know, maybe it would. I mean, with the relationship between Russia and America right now is not good.
Timing, everything is timing. And I think they're
if it was a male star of the NBA, we would not be talking about this right now.
Because he wouldn't be in there. But anyway, BG, we're sending prayers out to you, your family, your loved ones, everyone involved in this situation. Keep your head up. And, you know, hopefully something will come down the pipe.
Praying for a wife, too.
Right. Hopefully something will come down for the pipeline and, you know, get you up out of there. But you guys, thank you for your time today. That's a wrap. What's Burning? You can catch this on Showtime Basketball YouTube.
And on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, Show Basketball.
Oh, before we go, Rach.
Yep.
I saw the gleam and the smile in your face when you were up in Golden State. How good was it to get back on the saddle?
It was. You guys know you were up there recently, but even more so, you guys are family to that organization. There's no better place to be on a night like that. Ring ceremony. I'm all in for a ring ceremony. Give me a ring ceremony anytime in any sport. It's fantastic. And then, you know, you've got like first ballot Hall of Famers everywhere you look there. It is just so much fun and great to reconnect and talk to those guys. And I'm excited about what they're going to be this season. They're fun to watch.
I was happy for you because I just a couple times the camera caught you and you were just smiling. I'm just like, she's back in her element.
I love this game. You know that.
Right. So we're happy for you. Yes. Anyway, man, we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
This October,
Hello?
when you bundle Paramount Plus with Showtime, no one will hear you stream.
Don't say that. Holy headless horsewoman!
I'll be right back.
There's something new out there.
Watch it all here.
This neighborhood is haunted.
Stream Paramount Plus with Showtime. Bundle if you dare.